Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference today. So today's class will be given by His Grace Ramagiridhari Prabhuji on the topic of Sri Chaitanya Caritamrta. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Hare Krishna, yes Mataji, I am present.
Thank you very much Prabhuji. Namaskaram, all glories to Sri Prabhupada, all glories to you. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening this topic. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Please take it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we will discuss from Chaitanya Caritamrta Madhya lila chapter 23, text number 32, 33 and 34. 3 verses we will read and chant these 3 verses and go deeper. 32. Name Gane Sada Ruchi Laya Krishna Nama. Translation: due to having great relish for the holy name, one is inclined to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra constantly. Text 33. Rodana Bindu Maradana Shyandi Drik Indi Varadya Govinda Tava Madhuraswara Kanti Bhayati Nama Valimhala. O Govinda, this youthful girl named Radhika is today constantly pouring forth tears like nectar falling from flowers as she sings your holy names in a sweet voice. Purport. This verse is found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.13.38. Text number 34. Krishna Gunakyane Haya Sarvada Ashakti. Translation: at this stage of bhava, the devotee has awakened the tendency to chant and describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord. He has attachment for this process. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavati Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, first of all, I'd like to offer my sincere obeisances to all the assembled devotees. We are discussing the most complicated as well as ecstatic, deeper aspects of pure devotional service. This particular chapter, which is talking about ultimate love of Godhead, Mahaprabhu is opening up revealing some very confidential stuffs which are not commonly discussed. Srila Prabhupada, when he's talking about Chaitanya Charitamrta as a postgraduate study, he is definitely stating that all the instructions and the conversations between Mahaprabhu and his dearmost associates, especially Rupa Siksha and Sanatana Siksha, they have been dealing with some very interesting details about pure devotional service. These topics of pure devotional service may sometimes be irrelevant, boring, or out of context for some of us because they talk about emotions. When you talk about emotions, when you don't have one, when you talk about sentiments, when you talk about feelings, if we are not experiencing, we will never be able to relate to it. And if we are not able to relate to it, we will not be able to appreciate. And if we are not able to appreciate, we think that this does not make sense and we will look for some other context. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the past 25 plus verses, starting from verse number 4 of this chapter, he very nicely explaining about Bhava Bhakti. He's talking about how the consciousness evolves. He's talking about the symptoms. He's talking about how the person in the mode of ecstatic love, a person in Bhava Bhakti, how does he function? So the three verses that we read today is a portion of Mahaprabhu's narration in describing about Bhava Bhakti. So we are going to have some set of reflections, or maybe have some technical conversation, which is purely technical to understand Bhava, but more than understanding Bhava, to be in Bhava is what is expected out of us. Because Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti are beyond technicalities. When somebody is performing devotional service, there is something called as immediate goal, short-term goal, mid-term goal and long-term goal. The long-term goal is obvious that we need to go back home, back to Godhead. An immediate goal is to get rid of sinful activities. Between these two ends, giving up of sinful activities and going back home, back to Godhead, the progressive evolution of devotional consciousness is technically explained by Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. And this technicalities is for us to put us through these processes and activities in such a way that we will also achieve this stage as described by Mahaprabhu. So, the reason this conversation sometimes remains boring or theoretical for all of us is because either we have not experienced this or because we don't have Shraddha that this process can take us there. That is why Srila Prabhupada always gives the example of Dr. Frog philosophy, where sitting at the materialistic context, materialistic viewpoint, materialistic perspective, we cannot measure spiritual dimension. So to come to the spiritual dimension, we need to go through some set of processes, and this current context that we are in, where Bhava Bhakti is explained in detail, there is a presumption that we know the context. The presumption that we already know what sadhana bhakti is. The presumption is that we are looking forward either to develop our devotional sentiments in such a way that we will get situated in the stage of bhava. These are all not some intellectual teasers. These are all hardcore Krishna Bhakti stuffs. All that we are struggling hard so far in devotional life is to get rid of our routine, mechanical, purificatory process, to get rid of our sinful and sense gratificatory propensity, and eventually get situated in devotional emotions, and eventually love of Godhead gets awakened in our heart. So we are going to discuss some set of technical points, and through that let's churn these three verses. Srila Prabhupada explains in Nectar of Devotion that pure devotional service have got 6 characteristics. When explaining about these 6 characteristics, it is explained that the characteristics number 1 and 2 get manifested at the stage of sadhana bhakti. 3 and 4 gets manifested at the stage of bhava bhakti, and 5 and 6 gets manifested when we are in prema bhakti. Right after few more verses, Mahaprabhu is going to start glorifying about prema bhakti. So from that, we will all learn the details of Prema Bhakti. So the two characteristics that are associated with Bhava Bhakti, as explained by Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion chapter 1, are pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. And number two is pure devotional service is rarely achieved. When we say these two characteristics are associated with bhava, what is this pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure? That's what we have just read now, and you guys have been going over it in the last few sessions. Srimati Radharani is crying, weeping, tears are flowing from her eyes just when she remembered about the holy name of the Lord. She doesn't even need to remember the holy name of the Lord. Even if she sees something in connection with the Lord, color, beauty, sound, smell, anything that is associated with Krishna, she immediately gets ecstatic. And this ecstasy, these emotions are not to be compared anywhere closer to the feelings that we may have towards our opposite sex or something that we like the most. So for the first reflection, we are going to have some set of technical details about Bhava Bhakti. So we are going to discuss about the characteristics features, characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, the primary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti and secondary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, how do they manifest, and nature of Bhava and how do we achieve them. Somewhere or other, we definitely need to rise up our consciousness and move towards these esoteric or ecstatic part of Krishna consciousness, because that is in a sense just staying at the periphery, staying at the gallery, staying at outside the circle and constantly thinking that I'm going to get, when will we get? If you don't get now, or if you don't work for getting it now, you're wasting time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very nicely singing a song. He sings, Kabe habe bolo se vinamar aparadha guchi sudana me ruchi kripa bole kave hidaye savichar. Says, when will that day be mine? When will you give me a blessing, erase all my offenses and give my heart a taste ruchi for chanting the holy name in purity? So the stage of Bhava is such a stage where you have gone past formalities, you have gone past enforcement, you have gone past something to be pushed upon us for doing things. As Prabhupada explains, that pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. There is no external or any other reasons when and when will not develop this transcendental pleasure. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur hence is singing Kabe habe bolo Sevinama. He is saying Trinadika Dhina Kabe Nije Mani Sahishnuta Guna Hridayete Ari Sakale Manada Apariyamani Oye Aswadibo Namarasa. When will I taste the essence of holy name, feeling myself to be lower than the grass, my heart filled with tolerance? When will I give respect to all others and be free from desire or respect from them? So in the last 15-20 verses, we would have discussed different symptoms, different feelings, different emotions that the people in the stage of Bhava are having, and Prabhupada also classified what is Anubhava, what is Ai Bhava, and he was giving all technical jargons for us to know that this Krishna consciousness is a science. It is not some sentimental process, it is not some childish process, it is not something that we can handle without the help of a bona fide spiritual master, and it is not a temporary process, it is a permanent process. So it is explained that Uttama Bhakti or pure devotional service is classified, or you can say that when somebody is discussing about pure devotional service, you can classify them into two parts. One is devotional service executed with one's endeavor. Second is devotional service executed with one's emotions. So pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti has got two components, two divisions. One is Cheshta Rupa, which means devotional service executed with one's endeavor. Second is Bhava Rupa, devotional service executed with one's emotions. Within the stage of the regulative principles of devotional service also, there are two divisions. Namely executive division and effective division. Which means one is called sadhana, endeavors which cause bhava. Second is sadhya, endeavors which are the effect of bhava. So in Damodar lila, in various other lila, we talk about endeavor and mercy. Mercy is given to somebody when the endeavors are put in. So here technically Rupa Goswami explains the nectar of devotion. This Cheshta Rupa means a person performing pure devotional service by our endeavor. It means action, it means commitment, which means consistency, which means continuity, which means definitely there is some sort of attachment towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At this stage, we are already in the stage of personalism, and as we move progress in personalism, we will classify ourselves and remove all the disturbances of personalism and eventually focus on the core steps. So Rupa Goswami explains that if somebody performs Cheshta Rupa Uttama Bhakti, where by our endeavors somebody performs devotional service, then the endeavors are, one is sadhana, which cause bhava. So if you do not perform uh, your regular sadhana, then the emotions that are coming out are fake ones. We are going to discuss about that. And if the endeavors are genuine because of our japa, then that gives rise to sadhya, effect of the japa, which is bhava. So we will talk about two things as a part of our first reflection. The primary characteristics of bhava bhakti and secondary characteristics of bhava bhakti. We are going to discuss this of primary characteristics of pure devotional service and secondary characteristics of pure devotional service. Prema. So, like how we have a verse for Prema Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti, which is very famous. Anya Vilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnaanusilanam Bhakti Uttama. So for Uttama Bhakti, for Shuddha Bhakti, for being a superlative devotee, a definition, pure devotional service definition is classified in two parts. One is primary characteristics of pure devotional service. Second is secondary characteristics of pure devotional service. Even though that's out of the context today, I just want to quickly say that Rupa Goswami was very scientific when he was talking about Krishna consciousness. He was not trying to just give us some sentimental stuff which we will cherish. He also made it scientifically correct. So similar to pure devotional service, we also have characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, primary characteristics as well as secondary characteristics. So it goes like this. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryam Susamyamam Suchilis Chittamasnasya Krudashau Bhava Utyate. And devotional service is situated on the transcendental platform of pure goodness. It is like a ray of the sunlight of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tastes, and it is called bhava. Where is this verse from? In this chapter, verse number 5. I was just trying to refer that. How Srila Prabhupada gives an overall definition of bhava, and from this sloka, we will define the primary characteristics of bhava as well as the secondary characteristics of bhava. And we will discuss a little bit more on the details of them. Then we will talk about the nature of bhava, then we will talk about how do we achieve them, and finally we will wrap up with some practical tips. That will take care of our discussion today. So the primary characteristics of bhava. So basically, anytime when you want to talk about bhava bhakti, you can refer to this verse, Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya, lila, chapter 23, text number 5, where the Prophet gives detail on what bhava is all about. And this all the sloka from verse number 4 of this chapter up to this point in time, we have been discussing only about bhava. That which we are yearning for, that which we need to yearn for, that which we don't have at this point in time. Hence, these are all just a theoretical conversation which we need to definitely put in practice and relish them. I have never eaten a sweet called rasgulla, and I'm just going on hearing others talking about it. I may definitely develop an inspiration to eat them, but till I eat them, all I would know is only what I heard from them or what I heard from those who have eaten the sweet rasgulla. So similarly, in our own devotional life, our own devotional sentiment, our own devotional journey, unless and otherwise we put things in practice, unless and otherwise we do action, unless and otherwise we do them consistently, we are not going to experience any symptoms, and that will put us off or take us away from our devotional endeavor. So the primary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti. The primary characteristics from this above verse is Suddha Sattva Visheshatma, which means this stage of Bhava is a stage where Suddha Sattva enters the devotee's heart. Up till this point in time, we were adulterated. We had Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, Tamo Guna, Mixed Guna, Mishra Bhakti. So when somebody is raising themselves to the stage of Bhava, as we discussed in all the earlier classes, and even in this chapter, Caitanya Mahaprabhu compiles the symptoms, 9 symptoms of a person in the stage of Bhava. We discussed one day very elaborately on all those 9 symptoms. So the point here is that the primary characteristics of Bhava is about Suddha Sattva Visheshatma, wherein Suddha Sattva, pure goodness, enters the heart. Till that point in time, our heart was filled with dirt, filth, stool, unnecessary thoughts. As Prabhupada explains in this chapter itself in one of the slokas, where King Bharata is given a reference and how he gave up the attachment towards his family, children, as if he would give away his stool. He was not even attached one single person towards them because he was completely focused in the Supreme Lord's service. So similarly here, when somebody is trying to develop Bhava Bhakti, trying to emulate, it is just not a mechanical process, it is just not something that we have to physically endeavor. It has to be an emotion, it has to deal with very deep root science and attachment to the Supreme Lord. So hence the primary characteristics of Bhava Bhakti is Suddha Sattva Visheshatma, wherein Suddha Sattva is just not material mode of goodness, but it is about the Lord's internal potency, whose function is to revive the living entities' dormant love for Krishna. So this dormant love for Krishna that we have within ourselves is in a dormant state since time immemorial. And hence, it is extremely important that we need to awaken the dormant state so that we can fulfill the purpose of life. A dormant seed cannot grow without being touched by the Supreme Lord Sun's energy. Similarly, love of Godhead, prema, is like a seed lying dormant in the heart of every living entity. It cannot grow without the touch of Lord's own devotional energy, Suddha Sattva. So why Suddha Sattva is considered the primary characteristic? Unless and otherwise, Suddha Sattva or the stage of goodness, the stage of pure goodness, unless it manifests in our heart, we cannot even classify that emotion as Bhava. Bhava is applicable only when Suddha Sattva Visheshatma, which means pure goodness starting to manifest in one's heart. By choice or as a result. By choice, we are aspiring to come to the stage, it's appreciated. The result of the process also helps us to reach this stage, and hence, both ways, one has to reach this platform of Bhava Bhakti. When a person eagerly wants to serve the Lord, the Suddha Sattva potency may enter his heart through the mercy of a pure devotee. When Suddha Sattva touches the heart, it energizes the seed of prema and causes it to sprout. Consequently, Srila Rupa Goswami describes Bhava as Premankura, the first sprout of prema. There is no practical difference between Bhava and prema, but in Bhava still some traces and very limited gratification or propensity to gratify is there. But in prema we are absolutely clean. So hence Rupa Goswami Pad is saying that Bhava is nothing but Prema and Pura, which means the first sprout of Prema. There is a one stage before prema. In Harinam Chintamani also, it is very nicely explained by Haridas Thakur. How Harinam, the holy name of the Lord, it is just not for us to mechanically finish our duties. It is about to awaken our dormant love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So hence, as the Prabhupada and as Acharya has explained, this stage of bhava is about the first sprout of prema. And as explained here, that sprouting or that manifestation of emotions, that manifestation of prem, love, comes in the form of tears, comes in the form of blabbering, comes in the form of whatever that we just read today. Oh Govinda, this beautiful girl named Radhika is today constantly pouring forth tears like nectar flowing, nectar falling from flowers as she sings your holy names in a sweet voice. So these words by Mahaprabhu Sanatana Goswami reconfirms that to achieve a stage of bhava is very, very important and it is not impossible. So we are going to discuss that also in our next segment now. So basically primary characteristics of bhava mean Shuddha Sattva Vishesha Atma, which means pure devotion service to the entire heart. Up till that point in time, it may apparently, you may have seen that people are crying, people are weeping, people are having very mixed emotions, but they should not be equated to bhava because bhava is a very highest position. Because bhava and prema, there is no practically big difference. So from that perspective, if somebody is interested in inculcating the feeling of prema, bhava in one's heart, as they have to eventually go to the level of prema bhakti, it is extremely important and unique to understand bhava. So the primary characteristics is that. Now let us talk about the secondary characteristics. The secondary characteristics of bhava are, as explained in this verse, number one, it softens the heart, and number two, it gives rise to various tastes. As explained in this particular shloka, when devotional service, I am talking about nectar of devotion, as well as Caitanya Caritamrta, this verse is referred. So it's Caitanya Caritamrta, Madhya 23.5, the same chapter that we are in, text number 5. When devotional service is situated on the transcendental platform of pure goodness, it is like a ray of the sunlight of love for Krishna. At such a time, devotional service causes the heart to be softened by various tests and is called bhava. So we are seeing that how the whole science is classified. One is primary characteristics, which means Shuddha Sattva Vishesha Atma. Secondary classification means it is about softening the heart. It gives rise to various tastes. So now let us quickly talk about how the softening the heart takes place. It is not about lip service. It is not about words. It is not just about action. It is about consciousness, attitude, and the most subtler nature. Srila Prabhupada explains, in this connection there is a statement in the Tantra that ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love of the personality of Godhead, and in that state one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the softening of the heart gets extended to an extent that the person is often found to be visibly moved by emotions. In brief, the characteristics of a devotee on the platform of Bhava is that his heart is very easily moved by Krishna conscious stimulation. Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri. Suddenly Mahaprabhu developed feeling of separation from Krishna, and he started screaming and loudly chanting, and like a madman roaming around, he went to Alarna, or it is called Alvarna. So his feeling of separation, he went there. Just a small triggered Mahaprabhu to get into this emotion. So that's what he's saying. The whole point is, you don't need a complex arrangement to agitate somebody in the state of Bhava. For them to behave like this, as described in the verses today. One verse is talking about how Srimati Radhika is constantly crying and weeping. One verse is talking about how one is able to relish the holy name. And unfortunately, I don't have both. So hence, all that I'm speaking is very theoretical from my viewpoint for myself. So the first reflection to conclude, basically it is about how Bhava Bhakti is a very obvious stage that we need to elevate ourselves to. How in Bhava Bhakti, 2 important characteristics out of the 6 characteristics manifest. Number 1, where we develop automatically some transcendental pleasure, and the second characteristics of Bhava Bhakti out of this pure 6 characteristics is, this is not easily achieved. So Bhava is not something that is available right in the market that we just go and do certain things and we definitely pick up. Bhava is achieved very rarely. Hence, let us learn to respect, learn to recognize, learn to implement activities in such a way that we raise ourselves to stage of Bhava. And we discussed about the primary characteristics, which is Siddha Sattva Visheshatma. And then when it comes to secondary characteristics, there are 2 secondary characteristics. One is this pure Bhava Bhakti can soften our heart, and number 2, it also gives rise to various tastes. So these softening the heart is about what Srila Prabhupada mentioned, where it says tantras is nothing tantras. It says the ecstasy is the first symptom of pure love of the Supreme Lord, and that in that stage one is sometimes found shedding tears or shivering. And the second characteristics of the secondary characteristics is it gives to various tastes. What are these various tastes actually referring to? There are 3 kinds of tastes of devotional service that blossom when one achieves the stage of Bhava. They are, one is desire to achieve Krishna, desire to please Krishna with various services, and desire to be close at heart with Krishna. So in Harinam Chintamani, also it is explained how Bhava stage is no more darkness, and Bhava stage is also not fully, rise and sun. The stage of Bhava It is like an early morning state where we know things are happening, things are changing in our own selves, and it is not just some mechanical activity. How do we achieve bhava? That is our second reflection. First reflection, we defined bhava, we defined the characteristics of bhava, we also gave technical classification how from Uttama Bhakti this Bhava Bhakti is justified or evaluated, and we did discuss about two divisions of pure devotional service, of which one is endeavor based, another one is emotions based. So we are turning a little bit on emotions based, as I presume that the previous speaker would have discussed about the sadhana and related. So as a definition and characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, we discussed Shuddha Sattva Vishesha Atma being the first symptom or the primary characteristics, which means how one eagerly waits for the pure love of Godhead to enter our heart. And the secondary characteristics is about softening of the heart. We discussed how that happens. And second is give rise to various tests. Various tastes, I'm sorry. So what are those various tastes? Number one, desire to achieve Krishna. Number two, desire to please Krishna with various services. Desire three, taste three is desire to be close at heart with Krishna. Reflection 2 is about how do we achieve bhava. According to Rupa Goswami, there are two ways to achieve bhava. They are by ardent spiritual practice, sadhana, and second is by special mercy of Krishna or his devotee. This is called Adhyata Sukriti. Elevation to the stage of ecstasy can be possible in two ways. One way is by constant association with pure devotees. The other way is by the special mercy of Krishna or by the special mercy of pure devotee of Krishna. So hence bhava can be further subdivided into two parts. One is by practice and second is by mercy. Practice is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, which is heart of bhava, as we discussed before, and Raganuga. Narada Muni's life story is an example for someone to achieve bhava by the way of Vaidhi Sadhana. Narada Muni's life Srila Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam very elaborately. This ecstatic love is prior to pure love of Krishna, because in the next verse Narada confirms that by the gradual process of hearing from the great sages, he developed love of Godhead. The Prabhupada. What is this mercy component? So we know sadhana bhakti. We know sadhana has got two parts. One is Vaidhi sadhana, which means about rules, which means about consistency, which means about endeavors, which means about how we organize ourselves. And Raganuga is about full of ecstasy and emotions. A lady named Chandrakanti saw the beauty of Krishna, which aroused her desire to dance with Krishna throughout the night. Her dancing is an example of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti because she desired to develop the sentiments of Ragatmikas, namely the gopis of Raja. By this Raganuga Sadhana, she achieved Bhava, evidenced by the fact that she remained dancing all night without wasting a moment on rest. This reluctance to waste time is a symptom of bhava known as avyartha phalatvam. So we discussed about those 9 symptoms. One of the symptoms is aversion to wasting time. So we'll also talk about Ajnata Sukriti part of bhava because we are discussing about how do we achieve this. One is with practice, second is with mercy. Mercy is like a coupon. It's like a coupon where somebody is given. When somebody holds the coupon, they don't need to have prior qualification to encash them. Oh, only if you are rich, this coupon is valid. Only if you are so and so, this coupon is no. Of course, there may be some time span allocated. Otherwise, the person who beholds the coupon is qualified enough to, to encash the coupon or to redeem the coupon. Similarly, Bhava Bhakti by mercy is also of 3 types. One is mercy by words, second is mercy by glances, and third is mercy by good wishes. So, whenever we are getting an opportunity, again, Srila Prabhupada explains the example of Narada Muni. That is why whenever devotees are seeking blessings from senior devotees are expected to give a very good verbal blessings by words. Krishna Matirastu, may Krishna be with you. So we need to seek all auspiciousness because they are all words of wisdom and mercy. That is why there is a typical practice when we perform any fire sacrifice. There is always called as Ashirvad mantra. Mantra for Ashirvad, blessings. And in our own life, we know how much blessings are important. So, 3 ways of receiving Krishna's mercy are Vachika, which means verbal blessing, Darshana Dana, which means blessing by personal appearance. Anyway, let us finish verbal first. So, Naradiya Puran, one of the Purans, mentions Krishna blesses Narada to achieve Bhava Bhakti. Devotion service full of transcendental bliss. O best of the Brahmanas, Narada, I wish that you may develop unalloyed devotion service to me, which is full of transcendental bliss and all auspiciousness. This is a blessing. I wish and pray that you develop prema. I wish and pray that you don't come back again to this material world and eventually make it to Krishna. So our birthday wishes, our general wishes and blessings towards our dependents and subordinates and our family members should be in such a way that they can pass on some mercy to that person, that he can redeem it and develop some devotion for Krishna. So second mercy is mercy by glance. Mercy by glance is a very interesting thing. Whenever we go and take darshan in the temple, the darshan is not just an eye exercise. The darshan is letting the Lord glance over us. Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Maharani coming in the streets during Ratha Yatra is their glance over the citizens. Spiritual master giving his darshan is his glance over us. So just getting personal appearance by we seeing them and them seeing us, both ways we get purified, but one that begins is them, their glance upon us. So that is the way we get Adhyata Sukruti and eventually develop pure devotional service. Third is about giving good wishes, heartfelt blessings. While still within the womb of his mother, Sukadeva Goswami achieved the stage of Bhava. Since he had not yet come out of the womb to see or hear the Lord, one can surmise that he attained this perfection by the Lord's heartfelt blessings. The point is, both Prahlad Maharaj, because he received the blessings, heartfelt blessings, when he was in the womb, Sukadeva Goswami received blessings when he was in the womb. Parikshit Maharaj got protection when he was in the womb. And Srila Prabhupada encourages all of us, Grihasthas, who are planning children, they need to go through Garbhadana Samskar because that Samskar gives protection to the baby that is going to come up. So heartfelt blessings is something that you somehow or other receive from a pure devotee, and that's enough for us to elevate us to stage of Bhava. Once Bhakticharu Maharaj was giving a class, and in that class he was mentioning that why is it that Mahaprabhu is giving pure love of God profusely? Mahaprabhu need not give, but why is he giving? Because he is mad. He's gone mad, he's gone crazy, and when he is crazy, he is profusely giving his blessings. That please come and take as much as you want, pure love of God, and all you need is some burning desire and not offensive mentality, that's all. So Mahaprabhu is giving profuse mercy. We need to grab them. So this is the second reflection, which is about how do we achieve bhava. And the nature of this is the third reflection. I'll just finish in 1 minute. We may not be able to discuss in detail. And that is what is spoken about in these 3 shlokas, the nature. When bhava appears, it covers our consciousness to such a level that it became our mind, it became our consciousness. Just like an iron rod, if you place in fire, eventually the iron rod acquired the quality of fire, uh, and there is no difference between the characteristics of fire and iron rod. This stage is called Tadatmaka. The Prabhupada describes that one who is in the stage of bhava, he very soon reaches the stage of samadhi, oneness, resonate with the frequency, this ultimate frequency of Krishna consciousness. And as explained earlier, in this stage, one relishes different tastes and one enjoys hearing, discussing about the characteristics and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Our verse number 34 is about that, where Mahaprabhu is explaining you get attracted, drawn towards hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Lord. So, I am not sure if this particular set of details had already been discussed in this forum earlier, because this whole chapter is discussing about bhava up till this point in time. I'm sure the devotees would have spoken on the same lines or similar details. If it is a repetition, consider it as a reiteration. If it is not, please give attention to the details of the characteristics of pure devotional service, especially over here as Bhava Bhakti, and eventually develop our consciousness to bring to the stage. So, with this I end here. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your very enlightening class today. And we are very grateful to we look forward to your association in the future.
Thank you so much for engaging me in this service. It's always my pleasure. Today is our Guru Maharaj Vyasa Puja, Jayaprakash Maharaj Vyasa Puja. We had a wonderful celebration this morning here in Mumbai. So I had a good fortune to be part of the festivity, and I'm feeling myself privileged to be part of this Sangha to speak and glorify the Vedic literature, Caitanya Caritamrta. So it's definitely my privilege than anybody else's. And thank you so much. So if anybody has any questions or comments, I mean, it's definitely a little technical, and also, as I mentioned in the earlier part of the class, unless we have relished them, we may feel out of context or irrelevant. But then these are all postgraduate studies, so better we study them in depth. Any questions or comments?
Thank you very much. Yes, in Baltimore Temple, yesterday we had a celebration of the Jayaprakash Maharaj.
Oh, did you? Okay, very nice. Okay.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
I will.
If anybody has any questions, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, especially for elaborating on these three efforts: the mercy, the receipt, for the
I mean, just a question to this forum. Have anybody passed this, because this chapter is fully about Bhava Bhakti. I'm sure in the next couple of weeks, because I'm seeing this chapter is going a bit slow, probably in between Mahaprabhu's appearance, there came a lot of topics that discussed, so probably they are going slow in this chapter. So did anyone discuss the details that I discussed today? Because then I will know, accordingly I will structure myself next time. Did anybody discuss what we discussed in this chapter before?
No, Prabhu. Yeah. You want to go ahead, Mataji?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I would not say the entire class was similar, but of course certain concepts came up in the previous sessions, but it's very important for us to hear it over and over because it's not easy to grasp these concepts. So overall class was, I wouldn't say was the same. There was a lot of variations in the sense a lot of more details. The details and the realizations by each speaker has been very, very different. So of course the concepts remain the same, yet there has been a lot of differences, and that's what we are looking for. So it was very nice, Prabhu. Thank you. This was pretty good, Prabhu. It was good.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Koti Guru with Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Prabhuji, thank you very much for today's class, excellent class. And before that, I don't know you, and Dr. Kishori, my counselor, said that you have to do that Guru Disciple course, and I started to learn one by one your lesson, and suddenly I get your association in Atlanta Temple also. House program also. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, everything for especially for Bhakti Guru Disciple course. How nicely you explain one by one small matter. And Prabhuji, one more thing. If I want to do Bhakti Shastri course in Hindi, so your course, so from where I get all the information, Prabhu? Then was Brinda to be from Atlanta.
Okay. I'm not sure if you're referring to the right person, because I don't conduct Bhakti Shastri course in Hindi, and I probably you're mixing up with another person. I'm Ramagiridhari from Navi Mumbai, and I hail from South India. There may be other Ramagiridharis who may be knowing from Radha Gopinath temple. I don't conduct Hindi Bhakti Shastri, and maybe I can find out some information for you and pass it on to you.
Please forgive me, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna. Yeah. When you were discussing the characteristics of Bhava Bhakti, I just want a translation of the word Visheshatma. Maybe you gave, but I missed, the specific word Visheshatma.
Okay. So basically, what Rupa Goswami is explaining is that the Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma is, if you refer the shloka from Vishesha, actually means distinguished. So special.
Extinguished. Extinguished?
Distinguished.
Oh, distinguished.
So, so Visheshatma means unique, special Atma, or distinguished Atma, or one personality whose nature. So basically, you can refer the word by word translation is there in Caritamrta, Madhya, lila 23.5. But basically, what Srila Prabhupada explains, or what is explained in Extra Devotions, that this is a stage where the Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma means the stage where a unique nature, which is about, this is the first time pure devotion or Shuddha Sattva is entering the heart, the state of Bhava. Up till this point in time, we have been just preparing the ground, we have been cleaning this place, we have been, purifying this place, we have been, our heart has been dirty for, eons. So now slowly, by this process of pure devotion service, it got purified. So this is just giving hope to develop, as Srila Prabhupada further explained, it's a place, it's a stage where we are sprouting of prema, Prema Kura. For the first time, the Prema is going to sprout. So from that perspective, this is a very distinguished, unique nature that gets manifested in a person, and that's what is the state of Bhava. Otherwise, we are still in a state of claiming ourselves.
Yes, and then there's another one connected to this also. You distinguish between primary and secondary characteristics of Baba. So is it that we call the secondary ones secondary because those qualities manifest after the primary ones and sequentially like that? Is it because of sequence that we call them secondary?
No. The secondary is meaningless unless the primary is in place. So anytime, even when you talk about the pure devotion service, so
yes.
If you remove the primary characteristics of pure devotion service and talk about secondary characteristics, it will become meaningless. It will become actually void. So secondary characteristics is called secondary because it is dependent on the primary characteristics. So from that perspective, your heart is softened and giving rise to various states because your heart has got a new entry, which is called Shuddha Sattva.
Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Any other thoughts, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just want to say very, very beautiful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada. Okay. If there are no more questions, then see you all next week. I'll be in Houston next week. I'll be there for probably 15-20 days. I'll be in US. So I'll log in from Houston next week for Bhagavatam class. See you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your very nice class and also answers of the questions. If nobody has any question, we can end the class here now. Vancha kalpatarukyasya kripa sindhubhyo